Hello, Arizona. It's Governor Katie Hobbs. Like millions of women across Arizona, I am reeling from the Supreme Court's callous decision to uphold the 1864 total abortion ban. This archaic law, which was written by men 48 years before Arizona even became a state, threatens the lives of countless women and strips us of control over our bodies.
Now, Kari Lake is the Republican candidate who actually ran against Katie Hobbs, and she's also condemning what the state Supreme Court has decided in regard to reproductive rights in the state of Arizona today. We'll get to Kari Lake in just a moment, and you don't want to miss that portion of the story because it is fascinating and shows you exactly how politics works. But first, let's talk about what the state's Supreme Court has decided to do. Now, in a 4-3 decision, or the 4-3 decision, I should say, it supersedes the previous rule, which guarded the right to end a pregnancy by the 15th week mark in the state of Arizona, resetting policy to the pre-Roe v. Wade era and adding Arizona to the roster of 16 other states where abortion is virtually outlawed. Now, Arizona was one of a handful of states that never formally repealed abortion bans after the passage of Roe v. Wade, or after the Supreme Court decision of Roe v. Wade in 1973. And so when the Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade through the Dobbs decision in 2022, basically what that allowed for was the revival of that old anti-abortion law, that abortion ban, to come into effect. Now, the court said that the 19th century measure needed to be harmonized, though, with the more recent law, which banned abortion after 15 weeks. So under the 1864 territorial law, which went into effect 48 years before Arizona became a state, anyone who administers an abortion could face a mandatory prison sentence of 2 to 5 years. That ban could compel Arizona's licensed abortion clinics to ramp down dramatically or shutter, though it's unclear how the decision will be enforced. And the law was also passed decades before women even had the right to vote in the United States. And to be clear, much of the conversation about reproductive rights in modern times here in the United States is dominated by male politicians. So I think it's important to be clear about that. Now, the only exception to this old law that has now been revived is to save the mother's life. But we've seen how that plays out in other states that have effectively banned abortion. And so would the mother need to go before the court and prove that her life is in jeopardy due to the pregnancy? What if time is of the essence? These issues are incredibly unclear. And remember, we're really talking about reproductive health. It's not just about abortion. And now you have government officials involved in one of the most intimate and difficult decisions that women have to make about their own bodies and about whether or not they carry a pregnancy to term. So Katie Hobbs also said they can do this right now. They can do it today, meaning change the laws, pass a new law in the state of Arizona that supersedes this old law. They should listen to their constituents, 9 out of 10 Arizonans who support access to abortion, and do the right thing so that we are not living under the confusion and chaos and lack of access to healthcare that's needed. So the ruling cannot be enforced for 14 days, the judges wrote, during which Planned Parenthood, as a party to the court case, could raise constitutionality questions before the lower court. A referendum to constitutionality, or I should say, to constitutionally protect abortion access in Arizona, has enough petition signatures to appear on the ballot in November. So this issue ultimately will be decided by the people of Arizona. The question now is how healthcare in the state will be affected and how many women may suffer between now and November as a result of this ruling. So before we get to Kari Lake's statements, Cenk, what are your thoughts?
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you. So this has 3 different components and they play out in different ways. Number 1 is a court decision. Look, I'm not angry about the court decision. So there's a law in the books. Roe v. Wade gets rid of what they have today. So they go back to the old law. So that sucks, but I get it. And you can make a counter argument legally, and they did, and it was a close case. But I'm not outraged by the court decision at all, to be honest with you. So On the other hand, policy-wise, total disaster. So I know like everything is binary in politics. So if you are in favor of abortion rights, you have to hate the courts, whether it makes sense or not, right? But we love the courts when they were protecting Roe v. Wade. So let's be honest, okay? So the court decision is not the issue here. The policy is the issue. So now the Hobbs is exactly right. Now Arizona, you're gonna get to make a decision. Which way do you wanna go? That this is what politics is all about. If it's about like Hunter Biden hearings and who wins and who's got the biggest ego, I don't care, nobody cares, right? But it actually does affect your lives. And so in Arizona, you'll either have reproductive rights for women or you won't. And so that's the ballot initiative that's gonna come up in November. By the way, you might not need that ballot initiative if Republicans go, oh no, you guys are right. We'll actually go with democracy. And obviously the huge majority in Arizona wants abortion rights, so we'll go for abortion rights. But they won't, they'll say, shut up, okay? Our religion and our interpretation of the religion will rule your lives. Okay, then don't vote for them. It's that simple. So that's what politics is all about. Get on the right side of an issue and you'll win. If you're not, you lose. That's sad day for you. That's literally what we want out of a system, right? Okay, so then that leads to the politics. Our member on Twitch is exactly right. I think Jules 2U writes in, methinks Arizona is about to go blue. That's right. The biggest winner out of this decision today is Joe Biden. Arizona is a critical swing state. And so what the Arizona Supreme Court just did was tie a beautiful bow on top of a giant gift. This is in politics, not in policy. In policy, women have to suffer between now and November, and we're lucky if that's all, okay? But in politics, this is gonna drive out all of extra voters. It's gonna create so much more voter enthusiasm, not just from women, but all of these voters that are on the Democratic side, but not just on the Democratic side. A lot of independents and unexpected voters are showing up to vote for reproductive rights. So it couldn't be worse news for Trump. It couldn't be better news for Joe Biden. But for now, it's still terrible news for women in Arizona.
Yeah, I think it's important to make those distinctions that you just made, Cenk, between the politics and the policy. So if you're a Democrat and you've been concerned about how poorly Joe Biden has been performing in swing states, this type of move by the Arizona Supreme Court is, again, a giant gift to Biden, you're right. But the policy is absolutely awful because between now and November, if a woman's life is in jeopardy due to the pregnancy, how exactly is this gonna play out, like I said earlier? And more importantly, what happens if a woman does not have the resources to travel out of state in order to get the reproductive care that she needs? So this is an awful policy, and the political liability associated with this policy for the Republican Party is so brutal that Kari Lake went from supporting the revival of this law to now suddenly backing off and condemning it. So here's what she said after the Supreme Court made its decision. In addition to covering the state of Arizona as a fair and honest journalist for 27 years, I have traveled to every corner of this state on the campaign trail. I speak to more Arizonans than anyone, and it is abundantly clear that the pre-statehood law is out of step with Arizonans. She continues to say, I am the only woman and mother in this race. I understand the fear, anxiety, and joy of pregnancy and motherhood. I wholeheartedly agree with President Trump. This is a very personal issue that should be determined by each individual state and her people. By the way, a personal issue means it's personal to the individual whose life the pregnancy is impacting, okay? Not personal to the entire state. The idea that the entire state should have a say in the personal and intimate matter of an individual woman, I think is insane. But nonetheless, let me continue. She also says that it should be determined by each individual state and her people. I oppose today's ruling and I'm calling on Katie Hobbs and the state legislature to come up with an immediate common sense solution that Arizonans can support. Now, if you take that statement in a vacuum, perfectly fine statement. I like that statement, it's a good statement, but you can't look at it in a vacuum. You have to look at it in the context of Kari Lake taking an incredibly important issue, intimate decision that families make, women make, and politicizing it for her own advantage. Once she sees that it's a disadvantage, she backs off. So what do I mean by that? I want to go to this video because apparently Lake had released a statement earlier saying that she supported the 1864 law. So this is what she said during a 2022 gubernatorial debate.
Kari, we'll start with you on this one. The new law banning abortion, the new law banning abortion in Arizona after 15 weeks. There's that law, and there's a territorial era law which bans all abortion, Zippo, over. Which law do you think should take effect?
My personal belief is that all life matters, all life counts, and all life is precious, and I don't believe in abortion. I think the older law is going to go into effect. That's what I believe will happen.
Okay, but you approve of that? What, at conception?
I believe life begins at conception.
Okay, what do we do about abortion pills? What do we do about?
I don't think abortion pills should be legal. That's
not in Arizona.
That wasn't the first time she supported that super old 1864 abortion ban. Let's go to the other time that she did so, again in 2022.
I'm incredibly thrilled that we are going to have a great law that's already on the books. So it will prohibit abortion in Arizona, and I think we're going to be paving the way and setting course for other states to follow.
Very clear. So for people like Kari Lake, and she's not the only one to be fair, this is simply a political issue. Use it as a tool, maneuver when necessary, and change your message when necessary. But at the end of the day, you're playing with people's lives. Okay, to politicize this and use it as a political weapon or tool is absolutely disgusting and disgraceful.
Yeah, so there's a difference between the real populists on the left and the fake populists on the right. Sorry, but it's true. So Bernie Sanders, you're not gonna catch him in a lie like this, and he's not gonna flip-flop his positions. You could disagree with his positions, and I could disagree with his strategy, and I have. But he's not gonna be like, oh, I like the 1864 law, I hate the 1864 law, based on how the polling goes, because he actually cares about things. But grifters and liars like Kari Lake, Donald Trump, etc., and by the way, all the corporate Republicans and all the corporate Democrats will come out and talk out of both sides of their mouth. There's a classic example. Where's the populist part? Populist is supposed to mean someone who's straightforward and with the average person, right? Does she look like she's straightforward? I love the 1864 law. How's it polling? Okay, we're pretending to be on that side. Oh, the polling's really bad and I want to win and I want power, status, title, wealth for myself. Oh, the polling is bad? Oh, I don't like the 1864 law. Let's put out a press release saying I don't like it. Oh, when did you develop that new opinion? Get out of here, man. She's such an obvious fraud. Look, that's obvious to everyone but the Republicans. So Republicans, you tell me, which Kari Lake is the one I should trust? The one that says she wants the 1864 law or the one now pretending to be against the 1864 law? I don't know, maybe she was pretending before. Maybe she's had 18 abortions, doesn't care at all, and she's been grifting you guys the whole time. I have no idea what Kari Lake actually thinks. I know which way she's grifting from time to time. So if you're a Democrat or independent in Arizona and you think Kari Lake's gonna protect your abortion rights, come on, please don't tell me anyone's that gullible, okay? So no, you have a super clear choice in Arizona. And this is not an international issue. This is not, hey, I don't like the Ukraine policy, the Israel policy. No, this is Arizona. And so the decision is, are you gonna go with Republicans like Kari Lake, but all of them, that say, yeah, we're gonna take your rights away, or Democrats in this rare case that actually fight for your rights and say, yes, you're gonna get to do what you want with your body, because unlike the Republicans, we believe in freedom. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.